A few months ago, Toyota said that EVs would never make up more than 30% of car sales worldwide. Never more than 30%. As though somehow Japan could control the buying habits of the Chinese and Americans and Europeans. Now, obviously these numbers are ridiculous because just the Chinese car market itself will hit 100% EV. There's no question we're on that trajectory. And China makes up more than 1 in every 3 car sales worldwide. So if China hits 100% within the next 5 or 10 years, which it certainly will, then Toyota's claim would be obviously destroyed. And that would discount for the fact that Denmark is at 50%, Sweden's at 65%, Norway's at almost 100%, and there's many other places where internal combustion will be banned by 2035. What is almost really, really crazy about all this stuff that's going on here is that Toyota themselves have revealed they plan to no longer sell purely internal combustion engine cars in 2030 in the United States. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Big shout out to the company who installed my solar system. If you want to use them, I'll put a link in the description below. They were great, fantastic. My system hit a record today. Unfortunately, I couldn't benefit from it because I'm in America. But anyway, I am personally really looking forward to taking delivery of my Xpeng G6. And after driving the G6 on highways and doing 3,000 kilometers in the space of a week in that vehicle with my boys in the back, I can tell you now that owning an EV, a long-range EV, really does mean there's no reason you'd want internal combustion. And I'm seriously curious, have Toyota engineers and their head honchos, their CEOs and these guys, have they actually driven a good electric car? Do they just, we all know they love to do race their hydrogen-powered engine vehicles. We know that they love that, and they get into that stuff on weekends. But have they ever gone on a proper road trip with a good, proper long-range electric car and seen what their competition is? I don't think they have. But interestingly, contradicting themselves to some degree, they have said this. Toyota's chief scientist has admitted the company is discussing an end date for its non-electrified cars in America. In the US, there is a decision being made now, and I'm not a part of it, as to whether to stop making pure internal combustion for the US market, said Gilles Pratt, Toyota's chief scientist. Now, this guy, to be honest, is an utter muppet. He owns a Tesla Model X, but he bashes EVs. He's mental. And mate, honestly, Gilles Pratt, if you ever watch this video, I'm calling you out, dude. There's something mentally wrong with you because the public comments you make, they're an embarrassment to yourself. You don't need to make them. You don't, mate. You're only going to live once. You're only going to live once. You're only going to live what? What are you going to live for, mate? 80, 90 years? Why not leave? Dude, the media are publicly quoting you. You don't have to talk bullshit just to appease your peon Toyota big cheese in Japan. You don't have to do this. You really don't. I don't think they're going to fire you, mate, if you just tell it like it is. You've got a Tesla Model X because it's better than having a Toyota. Just tell the truth. Don't say EVs no one wants them when you own one yourself. Anyhow, he said, just the fact that we're thinking of that means that, okay, it must be close. Now, the truth is here, this story is being beat up by some EV websites as being like some miracle thing where isn't it great, Toyota's turning the corner. They're not really. Electrified vehicles for Toyota, it's just a buzzword. It's a marketing slogan. They put these tiny batteries in these cars and say that they're an EV. They're not, obviously. But at least they're moving in the right direction, sort of. I mean, kind of slowly moving the Titanic, aren't they? Whoever's steering the Toyota ship, no one knows who that is. Whoever's steering it, it's slowly moving in the right direction. But unfortunately, I think it's still going to hit the iceberg. Well, not unfortunately. I mean, to be honest, it's fortunate that it will because the better the Toyota, the sooner the Toyota are gone. They're lobbying against EVs still. They're still lobbying against them. If you don't believe this, there's plenty of facts out there. We have the numbers. We know what Toyota spends on lobbying against EVs. And external companies actually track this data. So the sooner they're gone, the better. Anyway, apparently, Toyota's track record with EVs, according to even not the Electric Viking, is not great. They have 3 electric offerings in the US. Obviously, they also have the Subaru Solterra, which is a Toyota as well, been rebadged as a Subaru. But keep in mind as well that Toyota's sales have gone down. Well, they went down 21% in the US last month of September, they went down 21%. They've fallen for 4 straight months, but they've actually fallen for 6 straight months worldwide. I'm wondering if Toyota are thinking to themselves, well, okay, maybe it is time to accept that people do want EVs in spite of what the media are trying to say. Now, what I find in truly staggering about all this is the fact that Toyota actually invested into Tesla many years ago, and that investment would be worth as much as the entire Toyota Corporation company itself if they'd held on to that investment. But obviously they decided a long time ago that they weren't going to focus on electric cars. Now, it's true that Toyota were one of the early pioneers for hybrids, for hybrid cars. Obviously, the Toyota Prius was massive here in California. It was massive worldwide. But then they kind of dropped the ball. For Toyota's future, what kind of EVs do they have? Well, they have shown 24 electric cars, production cars. Actually, no, they're not. 24 concept cars. They showed those concept cars 2 years ago. And then they said that by 2027, 2028, they would be using, or even potentially even 2026, they would have solid state batteries that they would be using in those vehicles. And therefore, their vehicles would have more than 1,000 kilometers of range or more than 600 miles of range. Now, Toyota believe that for EVs to really take off, you need solid state batteries. But unfortunately, if that is the case for Toyota, they'll never actually mass produce EVs because I don't believe they're ever going to be able to mass produce solid state batteries. But, well, one of Toyota's advanced scientists actually made this comment. He said, he's thoroughly depressed by the growing amount of CO2 emissions driven by human activity. If you're not scared by this curve, then you're not seeing it right. Maybe you should get a job outside of Toyota. But anyway, it is good to see Toyota having these discussions, right, about no longer producing internal combustion cars in the United States. And I don't think they're doing this out of any kind of goodwill for the planet or anything like that. It simply comes down to economics. They can see the writing on the wall. People don't want vehicles that are not electrified in some manner, plug-in hybrids or EVs. And they can also probably see the fact that their rivals within the next few years will have things like they'll be using the new condensed battery from CATL. They'll be using some incredible new batteries that Geely have as well. Other batteries that are coming out in China, they'll be using those batteries and they'll be getting 600 miles of range from their electric cars. There'll be no reason to buy internal combustion vehicles. Europe will have banned internal combustion. China will no longer be buying internal combustion. That's already happening to China, to Toyota in China as well. Their sales are shrinking because of that reason. And it's simply economic reasons. So Toyota's claims that 30% of the global car market would only ever be electric, clearly they don't believe them themselves. And that's why they're trying to pivot. But they probably will never publicly admit what is really the reason for this change. It's purely down to economics. Demand is showing Toyota what people really want, and that's electric vehicles. Thanks for watching.